Yeah, I think this is gonna work. All right, well, welcome back. I'm excited to be back with you all. We had one day last week, but now we're like getting back into our flow, and so I'm excited to be here. To start this morning, I would love to invite you to place one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly, if that's comfortable to you. If not, feel free to do something else with your hands if that's more comfortable for you. Let me grab this paper. Here's the lunch cart. Okay. And so then as we sit here, go ahead and just take a nice deep breath in your nose. Soft sigh out your mouth. Maybe do another one in your nose, out your mouth. And then see if you can start to slow down your breathing just a little bit. Kind of noticing what your breath is doing. Realizing that just by noticing your breath, it actually starts to change. So understanding that that power of awareness is so important. And then when you're ready, I'm going to invite you to take your hands to the front side of your knees. We're going to open up our chest as we look up toward the ceiling. Inhale deeply. And then as you exhale, go ahead and start to arch that back. Sit back on your tailbone, really stretching in through that mid-back and upper back section. And then when you're ready for your next inhale, go ahead and open up that chest once more. And then exhale and sit back on your tailbone again. And then just go ahead and do maybe 5 or 6 of these at your own pace, following your own rhythm of your breath. Just nice and slow, not rushing. Maybe exploring if you can stretch a little further each time. Maybe opening up that chest a little bit more or breathing a little deeper. Maybe sitting back on your tailbone just a little bit further if you can. Really exploring the edges of what your body can do today. And coming back to center, we're going to take that left hand down to the mat and inhale our right arm up. And then exhale off to that side. Taking another deep breath here. Now when you're ready, you can come back to center, taking your right hand down, inhaling the left arm up. And then exhaling off to the right hand side. Some nice, easy movements. Remembering to be gentle with yourself as we're working our way back into some of these motions. Coming back to center, we're going to come back to our mini cat-cows. So taking the palms to the front of your knees again, opening up the chest. Exhaling back as you sit on your tailbone. Coming back to center. And go ahead and plant that left hand down. Inhale the right arm up. And then exhale off to the left hand side. Then switching sides. Inhale as you plant the right hand down. Inhale the other arm up. And then exhale off to the side. Coming back to center, we're going to add a little twist. So taking that right hand across your body. And then reaching that left arm around behind you for support. Just a nice gentle twist. Taking a couple deep breaths here. And then releasing that forward, we're going to take the other side. Left arm across your body, right arm behind as you sit tall. Just a nice gentle twist. And when you're there, you can release that back to the front. This time we're going to put it all together. So palms in the front of the knees. Inhale as you open up the chest. Exhale as you arch back. Inhale as you sit up and plant that left hand, inhaling the right arm up. And then exhaling off to that left hand side. Switching sides, planting the right hand, inhaling the left arm up. And stretching off to the right hand side. Coming back to center. Go ahead and put that right arm across the body. Go ahead and twist off to the left hand side. And then releasing that, go ahead and take the left arm across the body. Stretching to the right side. And then release that back to the front. Now here, we're going to go ahead and take our hands to the mat, leaving one foot in front of the other. Now we're going to start to lean forward. If you are in a chair, you're welcome to either just lean straight forward, or if you'd like to cross one ankle over top of the other knee, you're welcome to do that as well. Taking a nice deep breath here. And then when you're ready, you can start to walk those hands back to center, switching whichever foot is in front. Sitting nice and tall, and then go ahead and start to lean forward, hinging from your hips. Coming down. I don't know if you guys remember, there was a commercial a while ago that was for an automatic starter on a car. And it's this little boy, he's dressed up like Darth Vader, and he keeps putting his hands out towards things, trying to, use the force to or magic or whatever to make things move. And he can't make anything move. And then his dad comes home from work or errands or wherever he was. And the little boy goes out in front of the car and does like this, and his dad presses the automatic start button, and so the car starts. And so the little boy thinks, I did it! And he looks at his dad like, it worked, And so part of what we're talking about today, that's like a funny example of it, but sometimes we do take responsibility for things that are not ours to take. So that's part of what we're going to be considering today. So we're going to walk our hands back towards our bodies. This time we're going to extend the right leg out at a 45-degree angle. You're going to turn toward that right leg. And again, you're going to just fold forward. So whether that's hinging at your hips or walking your hands down alongside your legs, or if you need to hang on to it for support, feel free to do that. Again, taking a nice deep breath. So one of the things that we're talking about today is that, sadly, many of us learn that we can control other people's behavior. But that also inadvertently kind of teaches us that other people's behavior is our responsibility. And so we see this a lot with like parenting or just different relationships. But the truth is that we can only control ourselves. So go ahead and walk your hands back towards center and then fold that right leg in. Extend the left leg out, 45-degree angle, turn toward that leg, and then go ahead and start to fold forward. So again, part of that unlearning that we need to do is to realize that we can only control ourselves. and that we can only make choices on how we respond to other people, including children around us. So part of the invitation today is to reflect on if and where we've held the belief that it is possible to make others change, and to maybe explore that belief a little bit to see if that has been helpful or not, and maybe to consider trying on a new belief. So when you're ready, you can walk your hands up back towards center. We're going to take both legs out, and again, you start to fold forward towards that middle, using the floor of the chair to support you. Taking a nice deep breath. And then when you're ready, we're going to walk those hands towards center. We're going to bring the feet together, kind of sweep them off to one side so we can come up onto our fours. And for here, we're going to do just some more cat-cows. So go ahead and drop that belly down. Allow the tailbone to come up. Allow the head to come up. And then as you exhale, go ahead and arch that back, tucking your tailbone, tucking your chin. When you're ready for your inhale, go ahead and come back to dropping that belly, allowing the tailbone to come up. And then once more, arching the back, tucking your chin. And then coming back to neutral, we're going to go ahead and lift our right leg behind us. So bringing that out, just using our core to kind of balance, keeping our hips square toward either the chair or the mat. When you're ready, you can go ahead and bring that knee in towards your chest or in towards the chair, and then go ahead and straighten it out behind you. So again, exhale, bring that knee in. Inhale as you push it out. Once more, exhale as you bring it in, and then go ahead and push that out. We're dropping that knee down to the mat or your foot down to the floor for chair. Switching to the other side, we're going to go ahead and inhale that left leg up behind us. Holding, making sure that our form is good first. And then go ahead and exhale that knee into chest. Inhale that knee out. Once more. Go ahead and exhale as you bring that in. Inhale as you push that leg out. And last time, go ahead and exhale, bring that in. Inhale as you push it out. And then allow that knee or that foot to float down to the floor. We're going to go ahead and tuck our toes. We're going to lift our hips up toward the ceiling. And we're going to come into our first downward facing dog of the day. So if you need to kind of switch from one foot to the next, or if you need to keep a bend in your knees, feel free to do that. Just checking that your arms are alongside of your ears, that your core is still engaged. You're kind of energetically drawing your chest toward your thighs. And then when you're ready, you're going to bend your knees and then start to walk your hands back towards your feet. And then keep a bend in your knees here. Take one elbow in each hand and then just hang in ragdoll pose here. Releasing all of those muscles in the low back space. Allowing gravity to help stretch out that low back space. Tucking your chin to make sure that you are protecting the neck here. And then bend those knees deeply, place your hands on your knees, and then slowly start to round yourself up. Head should be the last thing that comes up into place. And then when you're ready, you can go ahead and just do some slow shoulder rolls back in this pose here. Allowing those shoulders to float and soften down away from your ears. Check in with your stance, that your feet are directly underneath your hips, that your knees are just a little bit soft, they're not locked out. Checking in that your shoulders are over top of those hips, and then that your ears are over top of your shoulders. So if that means that you need to kind of tuck your skull back a little bit, you might need to do that. Again, taking a nice deep breath. And again, I'm going to invite you to take one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly here, and to just really focus in on your breath as we stand in mountain pose. And as you stand there and breathe, let me read a little bit more of our meditation for today. So the invitation we said for today was to reflect on if and where we've held the belief that it is possible to make others change. And if we've held that belief, to examine if it has been helpful or not, and to consider if it might be time to exchange that belief for a new one. So what if, instead of focusing on changing others, we looked at ourselves? What if we had the belief that changing ourselves is possible? When you try that belief on, much like a new pair of socks, how does that feel? And how does it feel different than the other belief that you might have held? So taking a minute to just reflect on that. Pay attention or bring your awareness back to your breath. And then when you're ready, you can go ahead and release those hands back down to your sides. We're going to take a step forward with our right foot, coming down into a low lunge. Go ahead and plant your hands on either side of that front foot if you can. And then stepping that back leg in, go ahead and straighten that front leg, getting a really nice hamstring stretch. If you're in a chair, just go ahead and straighten that right leg out in front of you, and feel free to fold forward over top of it. When you're ready, if you're in a standing position, you're going to slightly bend that front knee and start to walk your hands in front of your foot at about, if there was a clock here, kind of at 10 and 2, I will say. Then shifting your weight to that front leg, go ahead and extend your back leg parallel to the floor, balancing on that right foot. Using those hands for support. Then when you're ready, you're going to take that back foot and start to set it down as you bend that right knee, coming back into your low lunge. And then here you're going to blade your back foot, and then you're going to start to press both feet into the mat as you circle those arms up into warrior two. When you're ready, you can go ahead and straighten that front leg. You're going to turn both feet toward the long edge of the mat. I'm going to turn around so I can face you up. So you're now standing in a wide open A stance. And then you're just going to fold forward from your hips here, using your hands to support you. Just doing as much as you can. Checking in with your thought life as you do each of these poses. What's the language that you hear in your head? Is it kind to yourself? Is it encouraging? If not, maybe why not? Or can you change it? When you're ready, you're going to heel toe your feet together. You're going to bend those knees deeply again. Taking again one elbow in either hand, and then hanging in ragdoll pose here. And then go ahead and take those hands to your knees, and then very slowly, you're going to round yourself up. Again, head should be the last thing that's coming up. Here, we're going to do some of our balancing postures. So if you need to move to hold on to something, a chair or the wall, feel free to do that. We're going to start in our mountain pose. So our feet are firmly on the floor. Our knees are soft or stacked all the way up, one on top of the other. And if you'd like to soften your gaze or close your eyes, you're welcome to do that. Or maybe you want to pick one spot and focus on that. We're going to start to shift our weight to the left foot. We're going to draw that right foot up, so that way we place the top of the foot in the palm of the hand. Getting a really nice stretch on the front side of that right thigh. And then if you would like to explore this pose further, you can start by extending your left arm out in front of you. And then start to press the top of that right foot into the palm of the right hand, leaning forward for balance if you need to for dancer pose. Just doing as much as feels comfortable to you today. Then releasing that, coming back down to get, again, that nice stretch on the front side of that right thigh. Then release that all the way down and kind of shake out that left foot. All those little stabilizing muscles, we're tiring those out on one side. All right, so then starting once again in mountain pose, standing nice and tall, tailbone is softened down, our core is engaged, but we can still breathe. And then you start to shift your weight to that right foot, drawing that left foot up to place the top of the left foot in the palm of your left hand. Keeping your arm out for balance if you would like. Taking a nice deep breath here, really getting a good stretch on the front side of that left thigh. When you're ready, you can take that right arm out in front of you and start to press the top of that foot into the palm of your left hand, leaning forward for balance. Continuing to breathe. And dropping that back down, coming back to our left thigh stretch. Taking another deep breath. And then stepping out into mountain pose, shaking out that right foot. We're going to do a couple little foot stretches here. So we're going to take our right foot behind us, pressing the top of the toes into the mat. Again, thinking about our alignment, about our posture, about softening those hips and softening that tailbone down. And then releasing that, we're going to step onto that right foot, switching sides, taking the top of the left toes behind, pressing those into the mat slightly. Again, thinking about elongating that spine. Taking your arms out to either side if you need for balance. And then releasing that, we're gonna come and step onto that left foot, this time taking the right heel in front of us as we bend the left knee slightly, and then bending forward. You'll feel, again, a stretch on that hamstring, but also a stretch on the backside of your calf. And standing up out of that, stepping onto the right foot. We're going to take that left heel out in front of us as we bend our right knee, and then hinge our hips forward again. Continuing to breathe. Then standing up out of that pose, stepping out and shaking out those legs. And telling yourself, good job for doing it. All right, we're gonna come back to the back of our mat once more. And we're gonna take all of that from the top again. So we're gonna stand nice and tall. Taking a nice deep breath in mountain pose. And when you're ready, you're gonna step forward with the left leg, sinking down into that runner's lunge with your right and left hands framing that front foot. Again, feeling your balance. Maybe you want to explore that a little bit by rocking from side to side. Maybe finding some stillness is the best thing for you today. And I'm going to invite you to take that back leg, step it in just slightly as you straighten that front leg, folding forward over top of that front leg for a really nice hamstring stretch. When you're ready, you're going to bend that knee slightly and start to walk your hands in front of that left foot. Again, kind of framing that front foot as you do so. Then as you shift your weight to that front foot, go ahead and take your right leg parallel to the floor. Now notice you're not opening to the side, you're still keeping those hips square to the mat. So you're really exercising your glutes as well as your hamstring here. Continuing to take some deep breaths. And then when you're ready, starting to slightly bend that front leg as you set that back leg down. Stretching back into that triangle pose. And bending that front knee deeply as you blade your back foot, which means your feet are perpendicular to each other. Go ahead and press those feet into the mat as you take those arms up and open into warrior two. So your hips are now facing the long edge of your mat. Your arms are extended. Arms are parallel to the floor if you can. And then go ahead and straighten that front leg. Turn both sets of toes toward the long edge of the mat. Now you're in wide open A. And then you're going to shift your hips back slightly as you fold forward, bringing your arms down to the mat. So as we rest here in this pose for a moment or two, let me keep reading from our meditation for today. It says, we cannot talk about change without talking about choice. Each of us has free will and the ability to choose to change or not. Sometimes we can get stuck in our belief that we are only victims of things that happen to us, but often we have more power than we realize, and we have the power to choose how we show up when things are outside of our control. Robert Frost's last stanza in his famous poem, The Road Not Taken, says, I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. So I'm going to invite you to reflect on that stanza for a moment. Maybe what does taking the road less traveled by mean to you? And when you're ready, you're gonna start to heel toe those feet towards each other, bending your knees deeply, taking one elbow in each hand, hanging forward into ragdoll pose. Then go ahead and take those hands to your knees and start to slowly, slowly round yourself up. Head is the last thing that comes into place. And now we're going to do round 2 of balancing postures today. You guys thought we were done, but we're not. So go ahead and move again to the wall or to a chair or something like that if you need to. But we're going to do our whole balancing sequence one more time. So first we're going to start in mountain pose. Taking a nice deep breath. And then shifting our weight to our right foot. We're going to go ahead and draw that left foot up, placing the top of the left foot into the left hand. Taking a deep breath here first for a nice stretch on that left thigh. And when you're ready, you can start to take that right arm out in front of you, leaning forward as you press the top of that foot into the palm of your left hand. And bringing that back down when you're ready. Stretching out your left thigh once more. And then stepping out, shaking out that right foot. Then coming back to our mountain pose. Maybe this time go ahead and start to rock back and forth onto the balls of your feet and onto the heels. Just kind of finding where that feels comfortable to you. And then when you find that comfortable spot, let those toes kind of settle down onto the mat. Then shifting your weight to the left foot, you're going to start to take that right foot, placing the top of the right foot into the palm of the right hand. Continuing to breathe as you stretch out your right thigh. And then if you'd like, moving that left arm in front, pressing the top of that right foot into the right palm, leaning forward for dancer pose. And then bringing that back down. Again, keeping the other arm out if you need to for balance. Then releasing that down, stepping back out into mountain, shaking out that left foot. And then as we stand here, shifting our weight back to that left foot, we're going to take the right toes behind us, stretching out the top of our right foot. And then step out with that right foot, placing our weight onto it. We're going to take the left foot behind us, pressing the top of the toes in. Now, sometimes in this pose, you can get a little bit of a cramp in your arch sometimes. So if that happens, then just make sure that, turn to the side. If that happens, just stop and then push the other direction on your toes. So that way you're not in pain. Yoga should not have pain associated with it as we do it. I'm going to go ahead and step out, coming back onto both feet, standing nice and tall once more. And taking that right heel out in front of us as we bend the left knee, folding forward at our hips. Stretching out the hamstring, but also the backside of the calf. And if this doesn't feel good to you, you can always step behind you instead, like this, keeping your foot flat on the mat, and then lunging forward slightly. That will also give you a nice calf stretch. And when you're ready, go ahead and stand up out of that. Last one, we're gonna take the left heel in front, bending that right knee, folding forward slightly. Again, the alternate here is to step back with that left foot, keeping the heel on the floor, and then lunging forward with that right leg. And go ahead and stand up out of that. Shake out those legs. Whew. We are done with that section of our,
Warmed up.
yes, we are very warm now, for sure. We're gonna come back to the back of our mats. And we're gonna do one more flow with downward facing dog. So for those of you using chair, if you wanna go ahead and circle around to the back side of your chair so you can hang on to your chair for downward facing dog, that would be great. We're gonna start here, inhale both arms up. Bringing both hands together and exhaling to heart center. Inhale both palms up toward the ceiling as we inhale. And then fold all the way forward. Exhale as you go. Again, if this is too much, always feel free to leave a bend in your knees. Or if you're using the chair, only come down as far as the chair. Walking your hands forward, we're gonna come into our first second downward facing dog of the day. And just check in with your body. Notice how that feels different than the first time that we did the downward facing dog.
Feels a little better.
Good.
I feel a little looser.
Finally. And then when you're ready, we're gonna go ahead and shift our weight forward, coming into plank pose. And then we're gonna take those hips back up toward the ceiling and press back into downward facing dog once more. Then once again, walking those hands forward, come into plank pose. And then shifting those hips up toward the ceiling, pressing back into downward facing dog. Now looking forward in between your two front hands, you're going to shift your weight to that left foot and then bring your right knee, placing it between these two front hands, coming into pigeon pose. You can stay here or you can fold forward over top of that front leg. For those of you in chair, if you want to come around and sit down in your chair, we'll go ahead and take that right ankle over top of the left knee and then fold forward this direction. If that's comfortable, if that's not comfortable, feel free to extend the left leg out and take the right ankle over top of the left shin and then fold forward that way. Just making it accessible to yourself. Again, listening to your body. And as we hold here in this pose, breathe a little bit further for us. In our meditation, we just heard the last stanza of Robert Frost's poem, The Road Not Taken. And it says, if we are taking the road less traveled by, believing we have the power to change ourselves and that we have a choice whether to change or not, what does that mean for us? And what would that look like in our life? When you're ready, go ahead and take your palms onto the mat. You're going to tuck the back toes and straighten the back leg as you take your right foot back into downward facing dog. And then you're going to go ahead and take that left knee forward between those two front hands. Straightening out that leg behind you. And then again, folding forward over top of that left leg. And again, if you're in chair, then switching sides. Bringing your attention to your breath again. I think that the last stanza is empowering, but I also think that it expresses something really true about choice. Because when I read it, I hear a little bit of sadness in the author's written voice. Because every choice has a letting go as well. Or maybe a little bit of grief, as it were. Richard Rohr says that all true spirituality is the art of letting go. When we let go, we're able to step into the choice fully. When we let go, we are freed to move forward. So we just have to practice being okay with letting go and not knowing what may or may not happen. It's a bit like a trapeze artist, letting go of one rung to be able to take hold of another. And I think that's a fitting example because it can be really scary to let go of something. When you're ready, you can go ahead and walk your hands underneath those shoulders, tuck the back toes once more, straighten that back leg, step back with your left leg, coming back into downward facing dog. Then walking your hands back towards your feet. Go ahead and stretch forward here. And then arms out to either side. Inhale those arms up overhead. Palms together as you exhale down to heart center. Very good. You can release that, shake out those legs. We're gonna come down and do our cool down. So we've made it this far, which is great. We're going to start with our cool down the same way that we started our practice earlier. So we're going to take our palms to the front side of our knees, opening up that chest as we inhale and look up. And then exhaling as we sit back on that tailbone. Exhaling. Again, going at your own pace, opening up that chest and inhaling. And then sitting back on your tailbone and exhaling. Maybe doing 5 or 6 repetitions of this. When you're ready, you can come back to neutral. And you can leave your eyes closed or your gaze softened if that's comfortable to you. And take that left hand, placing it down, inhaling the right arm up. And then exhaling off to the left-hand side. If it feels comfortable to you, I'm going to invite you to kind of roll yourself forward, bringing both hands in front as you go ahead and stretch out that middle back. And then you're going to roll to the other side, opening up that chest, moving off to the other side, and then coming back to center. And we'll go ahead and do the other side. So planting that right hand down or grabbing onto your chair, inhaling the left arm up, exhaling off to the right side. Feeling that really nice stretch along the left side of the body. This time I'm going to invite you again to roll forward if it's comfortable to you. Bring both hands in front, stretching forward, and then rolling off to the other side, and then coming back to center. Very good. Taking that right arm across the front body, Twisting off to the left-hand side. Again, you might notice a little bit of difference here in your body. And then releasing that, taking the left hand across. Inhaling deeply as you sit tall, and then exhaling as you twist. And releasing that forward, we're going to go ahead and come back to center, taking that right leg out, a 45-degree angle, facing that right foot, and then leaning forward over top of it. We're actually going to hold this pose for about 10 breaths. So we're going to get comfortable here. So we talked about the metaphor of the trapeze artist, letting go of one rung to be able to take hold of another. That might also be a good metaphor for changing our belief about changing others. Letting go of the belief that it is possible to make others change can feel a bit scary. It may feel even out of control, but it also frees us from the idea that belief teaches, which is that we are failures if we fail to make others change. That's a lot of responsibility, a lot of pressure. If we let go of that belief, it frees us up to take a road less traveled, the one of true empowerment and authority in our own lives. Maybe replacing that belief with the thought, it is possible for me to change me, and it is my choice to change or not to. When you're ready, we're going to go ahead and walk those hands back towards center. And take that left foot out. Go ahead and fold that right leg in, turning toward that left leg. Again, folding forward over top. Again, we're going to hold this for about 10 breaths. Just again, paying attention to your breath. Checking in with your body. Maybe it's trying to tell you something. See if you can listen to what it has to say. When you're ready, you can go ahead and start to walk those hands back towards center. And if you're on the ground, we're going to take our soles of our feet together for butterfly pose. Again, if you're in your chair, you can go ahead and put one ankle over top of the other knee, doing one at a time to help open up the inner thigh. If you'd like to fold forward here, you can. Take a deep breath. And then here, we're going to go ahead and release that, taking our hands to the outer side of our knees, helping those knees together. We're going to roll down onto our mat. So if you'd like to find either a comfortable seat, or if you'd like to lie down for our final relaxation pose, or if you want to move to a more comfortable chair, you're welcome to do that. We're going to go ahead and take our final relaxation pose. So check in with your shoulders, that they're down away from your ears. Check in with your arms, that they're alongside of your body, just nice and relaxed. Check in with your low back, that it's in a neutral space. Check in with your toes and your feet, making sure that they are also relaxed, not holding tension or gripping anything. I'm going to read the last stanza of Robert Frost's poem once more as we pause in this final relaxation pose. It says, I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. So we'll take just a few moments of silence, and then I will bring us back together when we're ready. When you're ready, if you'd like to wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. If you're lying on a mat, if you'd like to rock yourself up or roll to one side, and then gently push yourself up into a seated pose, we can do that. And then if you'd like, you can go ahead and place that hand on your heart and one on your belly once again. And let me pray for us to close us. Divine Creator, good God, we recognize that you are with us, that you created us, and that there is so much good inside of us that you've given to us as a gift. God, would you help us to recognize our choices? Would you help us to have the strength to open our hands and to let go of what doesn't serve us anymore, and to take hold of the new that you're bringing into our lives. We love you, and it's in your name we pray. Amen.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Namaste.
I'm missing my full house.
I know.